What's happening, guys? It's Jeremy Blanton with RE/MAX Southern Shores, and today I want to discuss with you things that I wish I knew before moving to the area. I'm a local who's lived now in the Myrtle Beach area for over 25 years, and over the last 25 years, the area has changed a lot. But when we moved here from Pennsylvania, I moved here in 1998 from Reading, PA, we moved to the area, and there were some things that just bothered us, frustrated us, things we had no clue, no idea took place here in the Myrtle Beach area. And today I want to kind of go over some of those things that are the biggest frustration, biggest things that were big changes for us to deal with. Now, we've lived here, like I said, for 25 plus years. I love the area. I would not live anywhere else in the world. But these are some things you definitely want to take into consideration, think about before you make that move to the area. So the first thing that we have to talk about is the big elephant in the room, and that is tourism. Tourism is a huge, massive thing that takes place here in the Myrtle Beach area. Every year, over 19 million visitors come to the beach from the minute that it gets warm till the time they can't get on the beach anymore. We see so many tourists that come to our area. Now, when I moved here back in 1998, the tourism season back then used to be from mid to late March. It was when it would start, and it would run till basically Labor Day, and then everybody would stop coming, and we would at least have off season, that time from basically end of September through till March of the next year, where it was just locals in town. We could go into the tourism spots, we could go do the things and enjoy it all without having long waits or ridiculously terrible service because too many people in town. But as I've seen over the last several years, the tourism time here in Myrtle Beach has started to grow. It's expanded. So the tourism season used to start, like I said, in late March. Well, now it's starting the beginning of March, and instead of ending around Labor Day, it's running at least till about Thanksgiving. Why is that? Well, golf season has taken over in the fall. And so we have a huge amount of people who come to town during September, October, November, because the weather's still amazing. You know, right now, here we are, middle of October, and the temperatures are in the mid 70s during the day. Perfect temperatures to be out on a golf course. And so with that taking place, the season has expanded out to a much longer time. I remember when I used to work in the restaurants back in the day that once Labor Day took place, we could basically forget all of our tips. They would drop off. You know, during the summertime, I could make $150 a night waiting tables. And then when we hit that fall and winter time, I might be lucky to make $15 a night in tips. So when those things took place, the market would completely crash. Well, now we have that extended time, which means there's a lot more people in town year round. The second thing on the list that we need to talk about is the cost of living. Now, what you can find when you start to do some research is that Myrtle Beach is one of the most affordable coastal towns in all of the country. Living in this area is definitely much more affordable than other cities like, say, Savannah. You know, this past weekend we went on a trip with some friends down to Savannah, and one of the things that I realized real quickly, which I'm not used to, is that you have to pay for parking just about everywhere you go. You know, we went downtown the first day we got there and just to take a walk around down by the river. It wasn't too bad. It was about $4 or $5 to be down there for an hour or two. Not a big deal. Well, the next day, because it turned to the weekend, that price jumped. It jumped from $4 to $5 for an hour and a half to $15, right? You know, so we went down for brunch. It was like $30 because it was a large party. Took us a while to get our seats, sit down, eat everything, and then get back in the car. And then later that night, we went to a concert over by their new arena. It was $30 a vehicle to park. Super expensive to have just parking in the area. Here in Myrtle Beach, that's something we don't deal with. But the other thing that we have to pay attention to when it comes to cost of living is that while living here is much more affordable, we do have higher taxes on our foods. So like I mentioned in some videos in the past, you go by at a restaurant, you know, like Miyabi Jr., it's right near my office, great hibachi chicken bowls. They're like $8.99 for a junior bowl. But till they put the taxes and everything on, it becomes a $9 to $10 bowl just because of the taxes that are in our area. The other thing where I have found that it gets much more expensive to live here than other places around the country is when we talk about insurance. And not just homeowners insurance, but vehicle insurance as well. A lot of clients that I speak to, they say, Jeremy, My car insurance went up so much when we moved here. Why is that? Unfortunately, drivers in our area, I just don't think they're very good. And because of that, it makes the cost of living here much more because your auto insurance is going to be significantly higher than living in other places around the country. Also, the other thing to take into consideration is that your homeowner's insurance is going to go up a significant amount. Well, why does that happen? You're in a coastal area, low-lying areas, which in the past have been known to flood at different times. And so certain areas could have flood insurance, which is going to make the cost go up significantly. Now, if you're looking for ways to save on that, one of the big things that you can do is look at homes that are newer builds or even a brand new construction home. The number one factor in determining the cost for your insurance, other than its location for flooding, is the age of the roof. If you buy two houses and one of them has a 10-year roof and it's the exact same home, same price, everything, but has a brand new roof, the one with the brand new roof is probably going to be, almost half the cost for insurance on it. So take that into consideration when you're buying a home. That's why I've been sharing for the last few months that you should definitely consider new construction when you're purchasing a home in the area, because there's so many incentives out there. Right now, builders are throwing incentives at you, and then you have the insurance incentives as well. Not to mention, it's a brand new home with everything shiny and spectacular inside to start. The third thing on our list that we need to talk about, and this is something we didn't really consider when we were moving here, is the weather and just hurricanes, tropical storms that take place. Living close to the coastline, hurricanes is definitely something that we have to deal with here in the Myrtle Beach area. Now, as I mentioned a little while ago, I moved here in 1998. So I've been through many, many storms over the years. I've been through Hurricane Bonnie, Bertha, Floyd. I can name a whole bunch of them from over the years. But the last one that really has come through our area that did any type of major damage here was Hurricane Florence. And Hurricane Florence actually took place back in 2018, and it didn't really hit Myrtle Beach. Instead, it went north of us up to New Bern, North Carolina, which is about 45, 50 minutes north of Wilmington, North Carolina. The problem is that when it hit New Bern, North Carolina, it got stuck there and it just churned around that area, just dropping rain. And it got stuck there for like almost 24 hours. And from what they could figure out is that it dropped close to 27 inches of rain in that area over time. So the next day after Hurricane Florence moved out of the area, along the beach, along the coastline, we were back open. Things were back to normal. People were back enjoying life, having fun, going on vacation, doing the fun touristy things of Myrtle Beach like nothing ever happened. But where we saw damage in our area was inland. People who lived along the rivers, the streams, the waterway. Why? Because those areas were about to get all that water that took place up here. Well, that had to go somewhere. It worked its way down through Horry and Georgetown County and down out through the Winyah Bay down south of us. And so when that took place, we started to see the levels rise over and over and over to where the water was going up 20, 30 feet in some areas, and we just waited for it to crest. So when we saw damage from Hurricane Florence, it wasn't from the wind, it wasn't from the storms, it was actually from the flooding that took place in an area many, many miles away from where we live here. The other thing to take into consideration is this. Hurricanes, while yes, we are known to get them here in the southeast and see them here in Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, and that, they don't always go through our area. Take, for example, this year. This year we had some very destructive hurricanes that took place. One was Hurricane Helene or Helena, depending on who you're talking to. In fact, hi Helena, hope you're having a good time. Can't wait for you to move here from Hawaii. But with that storm, it didn't come here along our coast. We didn't really see anything from it. Here in our area, a lot of the local churches and relief teams worked for weeks on end, collecting supplies and donating things and traveling up to that area to help out people that were affected by that storm. If you go and you think even further back, let's jump way, way back. Let's go back to Hurricane Sandy, which took place in like the 2012-2013 range. Here in South Carolina, yes, the storm came up along the coastline. We had very minor and minimal effects from it. But that storm went all the way up to New Jersey and did a ton of damage in New Jersey and in New York City, and was on record as one of the most destructive storms that have ever taken place because it went into the city and caused all kinds of problems. Well, here in South Carolina, in the Myrtle Beach area, our homes are designed usually to deal with the hurricanes. You know, if we talk for a minute about new construction, let's just take, for example, D.R. Horton. One of the things that they put into their homes is that they use a quick tie system that they go into the walls around the exterior of the home. About every 6 to 8 feet, they're gonna take this steel cable, drill a hole into the foundation, epoxy it there, run the cable straight up to the top plate of the house, and then they tighten it down to about 1,300 pounds of pressure. It makes the house extremely tight and very well insulated and secure and quiet inside. What that means is that when we have the storms, when the hurricanes, the high winds, tornadoes, all that stuff come through, it's not going to shift the house off of the foundation. Because if that house shifts, even just the slightest bit, maybe 1/4 of an inch, you'd have to tear the entire home back down to the ground and rebuild the whole thing. So we're not going to see that with those types of systems. Instead, if there's going to be damage and the house is going to have stuff from the tornado, it's more than likely going to be kind of like Dorothy and Toto and Wizard of Oz. Have you ever seen that clip? The whole house comes up and it's spinning around through the air. That's more than likely what's about to happen from it, because that house is completely just connected together. So in South Carolina, our houses are designed to handle the storms. And most of the time, you know, a category 1, category 2, we're not gonna have really a lot of concern in our area. We're gonna have instead kind of more like a hurricane party type of thing, where we're gonna collect some, you know, snacks and things, fill up our generators with some fuel, have a couple of extra flashlight batteries on hand, and we're gonna just weather the storm, stay inside, stay safe. We might lose power for a few days, but we'll be back up and running pretty quick thereafter. So the fourth thing on the list then that I wanted to talk about is our economy and jobs and careers in our area. Myrtle Beach, guys, as I mentioned earlier, is a giant tourist town. So if it's a job or a career that has something to do with tourism, you can probably find that here in our area, and there's going to be opportunities to find a job in that field pretty quick and easy. That means if you're looking to work at any type of a hotel, maybe a restaurant, maybe a job like golf or mini golf, you're going to find those job opportunities all over the place here in Horry and Georgetown County. Myrtle Beach has tons of opportunities for it. But if you're someone who says, Jeremy, I've lived my whole life in the Northeast, and I've lived in New York City, and I've worked in factories, or I lived in Atlanta where I had factories, you're not gonna find those here in our area. We don't really have the industry jobs or the factory jobs where you can go in and get the third shift and work that night shift type of thing. Most everything here is going to have to either do with tourism, or it's gonna have to do with healthcare or something along those lines. So if you're someone who's looking for a job in those areas and wanna make the move to Myrtle Beach, definitely take into consideration and get your job applications put into the different places to find a job in the area. But the other thing that I need to caution you on is this. The salary that you're going to make here is going to be significantly less in comparison to other parts of the country. Say maybe you're a nurse in Cleveland, Ohio, and you're right now making $65,000 to $75,000 a year salary. If you move down to this area, expect that salary to be only $45,000 to $48,000. Yes, it's a significant drop in pay, but you also have to take into consideration cost of living, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be less. Your property taxes are less, fuel in the area, groceries, a lot of that stuff is less here than other parts of the country. So when it comes to careers, jobs, all of that stuff, we're kind of limited in the options that we have in the area, which is one of the reasons I think why Myrtle Beach has become such a popular destination for people who are considering retiring. You don't have to worry about how much money you have coming in because you're now on Social Security and a pension, things like that, that having a job and working week to week is not necessary to pay the bills. Those people are coming to our area left and right because they can retire to Myrtle Beach quick and easy and have the good life living close to the ocean. And the fifth and final thing that we're going to talk about today is the immense amount of outdoor activities that Myrtle Beach has to offer. Being that we're an area where we have amazing weather almost year round, even in our winter, it might be cold where it gets down into the 20s or 30s at night, but even in the middle of the day, it's going to warm up into the mid 50s most days. You're not going to have that extreme cold. So what does that mean? People want to get outside. I saw a statistic recently that stated that in our area, we have close to 300 days of sunshine a year. Good friends of mine, they moved here from Michigan. One of the reasons they moved here was because they couldn't take that the winters were just so gray and dreary and drab and just ugh. So you might be watching this right now in the middle of winter going, I'm so missing the sun. In fact, one of my clients I talked to the other day, she said that she misses the sun so much that it's actually like a thing that medical that she has to deal with. So she has gone online and purchased a sun lamp that she has to go and sit under every day for an hour or two just to energize her body so that she can get up and go. So if you're someone who wants to be able to be outside, enjoy outdoor activities, Myrtle Beach is definitely a place you want to check out. We have all types of things to do, from visiting the state parks like the Myrtle Beach State Park or Huntington State Park, or doing golf. You know, we have so many golf courses throughout the area. There's the Dunes Club, which recently was on the PGA Tour. It is one of the best golf courses that you can find in the area. You know, and so many other things to do. If you like water activities, well, with having the ocean right here, as well as the Intracoastal Waterway and all the rivers and streams, there's tons of water activities that you can get out on a boat and enjoy those water activities as well. Now you may say, hey, I'm not a fan of each of those things. It's okay. You can go and enjoy some of the other great things that are outside. One of my wife's favorite things to do is go up to the northern end of the beach and visit Vereen Memorial Gardens. It's a great spot to just get out and enjoy nature, relax. Great spot if you want to have a picnic, or like down in Market Common, just walking around the shops down there is a great thing to do. There's Valor Memorial Park, which is right there. Warbird Park, where you can go walk around and see some of the old fighter jets here in Myrtle Beach. So many things that you can do to get outside and enjoy just the beautiful weather that Myrtle Beach has to offer. And if none of that stuff appeals to you, there's always the shopping, and there's always that big blue thing known as the ocean that is right around the corner from us, where you can go enjoy the 60+ miles of beach right here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. There is definitely tons of things to do to get outside and enjoy all that Horry and Georgetown County has to offer. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and hopefully this gives you a little bit of value and information that you'll find for making your move to the area. If you have other questions, my information is going to be down below. Go in, fill out the form, and we'll definitely have a conversation. And if you're thinking about making the move to the area, do me a favor, go over to jeremyblanton.com and click the book a 30-minute call. You can go in there, fill out your information, put in there what day works for you. It connects right to my calendar, and we can have a discussion about your move to the area here in the near future. And as always, if you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up, get that bell on, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.